Module Overview. This module delves deeply into the cognitive architecture of creativity, exploring how specific mental processes, conscious and unconscious, give rise to original thought and artistic output. It emphasizes how the mind organizes, transforms, retrieves, and combines information to produce creative ideas. Drawing from cutting-edge research in cognitive psychology, neuroscience, and artificial intelligence, this module unpacks the inner mental mechanics of the creative process and how these processes operate across various creative domains, including art, music, writing, and design.
While Module 1 provided the philosophical and psychological foundations of creativity, Module 2 transitions into how creativity actually works in the brain and mind. This includes a systematic breakdown of attention, memory, perception, mental imagery, problem-solving, and conceptual combination. You will examine real-world case studies, experimental models, and visual mapping of creative cognition to understand the mental ingredients of imagination, insight, and innovation. Key topics covered in Module 2. The creative process, stages and structures. This section introduces the classic and contemporary models that define the stages of the creative process. Key frameworks include Graham Wallace's four-stage model, preparation, incubation, illumination, verification, Gene-Plur model, Finke, Ward, and Smith, generation plus exploration dual process models. System 1, intuitive, fast, versus. System 2, analytic, slow, in creative reasoning, insight versus. Analytical problem solving. Each model is critically evaluated for its application in both fine arts and problem-solving disciplines. Encoding in artistic thought. This part examines how creative people perceive the world differently. Topics include heightened visual and auditory sensitivity in artists, perceptual reorganization, seeing patterns where others see randomness, the role of top-down and bottom-up processing in aesthetic judgment, cross-modal perception and synesthesia in creativity. Case studies include Picasso's cubism, visual deconstruction, and Kandinsky's synesthesia painting. Memory systems and creative retrieval. Creativity relies on memory, but not merely for recall. It's about reorganizing and recombining stored knowledge. Covered here are working memory, holding and manipulating mental imagery, episodic memory, personal experiences and creative expression, semantic memory, knowledge base fueling ideation, autobiographical memory in creative writing and memoir-based art, the role of false memories and distortion in imaginative transformation, mental imagery and visualization. This section focuses on how creatives mentally simulate images, sounds, and kinesthetic experiences to form new ideas. Visual spatial cognition in painting and sculpture, auditory imagery in music and sound art, kinesthetic imagery in dance and performance, differences in imagery, vividness and control between creative and non-creative individuals, mental rotation and spatial manipulation in design and architecture, conceptual combination and divergent thinking. Here we explore how unrelated concepts are mentally fused to create novel outputs, divergent thinking, generating multiple unique solutions to open-ended problems, remote association, connecting distant ideas, basis of creativity tests like RAT, analogical reasoning, drawing parallels across domains, e.g., Da Vinci's flying machines, metaphor and symbol formation, essential tools in poetry, visual arts, and branding. Cognitive constraints and creative inhibition. Even creativity has limits. This section discusses functional fixedness, the inability to see objects beyond their usual use, cognitive biases, confirmation bias, mental set, availability, heuristic, working memory overload, and attentional narrowing. How emotional stress and rigid schemas block creative flow. Strategies for cognitive reframing and defamiliarization are presented as antidotes. Key theorists and contributors. J.P. Guilford, Divergent Thinking and Structure of Intellect. E. Paul Torrance, Creativity Testing. Robert Sternberg, Triarchic Theory of Creativity. Stephen Smith and Thomas Ward, Conceptual Combination and Constraints. Donald Hebb, neural networks, and associative learning, Roger Shepard, mental imagery and rotation, Finke, Ward, and Smith, Geneplore, model learning outcomes. By the end of this module, you will be able to identify and describe core cognitive processes involved in creative thought, analyze and differentiate major cognitive models of the creative process, explain the function of mental imagery, memory, and perception in artistic creation, recognize cognitive limitations that hinder creativity, and identify strategies to overcome them, apply concepts of divergent thinking, conceptual blending, and analogical reasoning to artistic tasks.